Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you my challenge. It's the 4 p.m. challenge for the Summer Scrappy Challenge with Scrap and Plan with Leah, or her crafty channel Surf. And I have a sketch with a stitch. This is the sketch that I wanted you to play along with, and the only other thing is that you were to stitch on the layout. And this is what I created as my example to go along with the challenge. I did not use a collection. I just pulled colors, the fun, bright primary colors that would go with these pictures of my son swimming. I used this piece of paper here from, I just had a brain fart, from crepe paper, sorry, as the basis of the colors that I wanted to use, and then I pulled those same yellows, blues, reds, and greens to coordinate with that. I had 4 squares and circles in the center of each square, and rather than using squares, I decided that I was going to use triangles to make up the square, kind of like a patchwork quilt, and just incorporate different colors into that. And then the stitching component that you will not see because my sewing machine is upstairs is that I stitched basically a cross through each of those, a continuous cross, and that was the stitching that helped hold down those papers. I actually did glue them, but I've learned with sewing that if you have adhesive, it gums up the needle, which changes the tension. So I tried very hard to just put the adhesive on the outer edges of where I stitched in order to be able to hold that down. So how I created the triangles was I just cut squares and then cut those squares in half to create the triangle, and consistently did that with a bunch of colors, and then just organized them in the 4 squares in order to just create the squares that are called for in the sketch. So a little bit about this challenge. Leah from Scrap and Plan with Leah has challenged each of us to challenge her with a challenge. So every hour there is a new challenge that is being released. As I said earlier, I am the 4 p.m. gal, and Leah has created a group on Facebook. It's called the Crafty Channel Surf Facebook group, and there are folders under this group, and each of those folders goes with a challenge. So if you play along with this challenge, we would love for you to submit the picture, and you have until July 26th to do so to be able to win various prizes. So I continue I have the 6x6 pack that goes with that crepe paper collection, and I wanted those smaller triangles that went with the big triangles that you saw from the 12x12 piece of paper that I used there. And I just pulled a couple of other colors because I wanted a bit more variety and not use the same color or pattern paper more than twice. And then the sketch called for circles in the middle of each square, and I liked the way that the triangles pulled your eye down into the picture, which is why I decided to do the triangles. And I just used my circle cutter to cut these pictures down, or a circle die, I'm sorry, to cut these pictures down. And I actually did, you see I have a circle punch there. I wanted the circle punch to put a white border around each of those circles there, and I could have used a die as well, but I knew the diameter of the punch and didn't have something that went with the punch. And so I am going to back each of those pictures with a nice white border just to sort of make the picture more crisp. And then I decided that I wanted to just use 2 grid paper patterns as the squares that I was going to put the title and the journaling on for those other 2 circles. And so just to line things up, I didn't need exact precision on forming the triangles, but I did want to have them to be fairly uniform from the top and the bottom of the page. So you could see I had my ruler out on the top there to just line them up. Just using my Prima glue pen here to adhere these down. And again, as I said, I try not to use too much adhesive in order to be able to sew through and not gum up my needle. it was pretty quick work getting these glued down. The hardest part was finding and organizing the colors and making sure that there was some variation in that. So I skipped ahead. I went upstairs and did some sewing. I don't have great light up there, and I didn't want to take the whole camera process up there. And I did leave the tails of the thread because I wanted that movement that the thread provided. I did tie off the ends so that over time they don't become unraveled and create a bit of a mess on the layout. So I'm just sped this up as I literally tie off the ends and then cut them off so that the tails of the thread don't extend too far beyond the edge of the page, because ultimately they will go in page protectors and it loses the effect if the tails are too long. After I tie these tails down, I am going to adhere the circles and then embellish the layout. So again, I did not use a kit with this. I created my own kit per se, and I pulled out embellishments from the collection, and I also just pulled out some enamel dots and other random things that were basically color coordinated. So there's the pictures, and there's the grid paper there that I just used a circle punch in order to do some embellishing and some journaling. And the grid paper actually had light and dark grids on it, and I wanted to make sure that the darks coincidentally lined up with the sewing that I had put on the page. I pulled out these stickers to create the title. So the first half of the title is record and the second half is breaker. I don't believe I put in, so Growl is the name of the summer swim league that we swim for, and I did go in later and put Growl with red letters above record, more just for some delineation for us because he swims on 2 teams during the summer. So there's record, and these stickers are pretty old, and they historically end up at the bottom of page protectors if you don't use added adhesive. So I did use my quick dry and stuck them down again with the quick dry. Then we need to complete the title, and I found these letters from Studio Calico, and I actually do use these letters, but as I was photographing these pictures, the green on these letters really bothered me, and so I pulled them off, and I ended up using some Bella Boulevard green that is a much closer green and less neon to the pattern paper that's that green pattern paper up there. And I found this, I'm looking for some embellishments to just decorate the page with, and I used my small circle punch there to cut out that yay, and then there's a couple of other circular elements there, and the circle punch actually left too much of a white border around them, so I just used my scissors to fussy cut that little blue star in a circle there. Next, I had this red piece that I thought might make a good bottom border for the circle there, and that is where I then used some yellow letter stickers and put the time that he finished that particular event in, and I'll come back to that later. And I thought it would be fun to put some enamel dots, kind of like underwater bubbles when you're swimming, just to add some fun, and also to complete the trio of embellishments. I like to have my embellishments in clusters, and usually with circles I like to use trios. I thought these enamel dots, they're not actually dots, triangles, made a fun little sort of attention here type thing and put those down, and then the little photo corner in the blue. And I'm not sure that I like that photo corner up there. I'd be interested in hearing whether you think I should take it or leave it. It sort of gets lost in those colors and doesn't really serve any purpose up there. And then I thought these words from this page were fun, and so I just used some pop dots to pop up. I used wham, wow, and kapow because he really did smash this record, and I thought it was kind of fun for a boy layout, and it was keeping in the theme of how things went. So I just cut those out, and you'll see in a minute I get some of my Scotch foam, and just there you go, put the backing on that to pop up those words. So in a minute, the video is going to actually come to an end. I did put in growl, you'll see that, and I put in the stickers and a couple of other enamel dots. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you've enjoyed this summer Scrappy challenge. We would love to see you play. So again, the name of this challenge is Sketch with a Stitch. So all you have to do is play along with the sketch and put some form of stitching, be it hand stitching or machine stitching, on your layout or project. And upload that to the Crafty Channel surf group. So here's some close-ups. If you enjoyed this video, thumbs ups would be great. And if you don't subscribe, I would love to have you so that you can join in on any other future challenges that I might have and other process videos. Thanks for stopping in today. Take care.